town. Today, a Cuban man says his Bolivian wife and 2 children were detained after an immigration hearing.
In August 2025, immigration enforcement actions by the U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement Agency, known as ICE, became a national focus, with a significant event at a McDonald's in Texas. Reports claim that over 500 people were deported on the spot when ICE buses surrounded the area. If you're interested in this topic, comment number 1. This incident is part of a large-scale immigration enforcement campaign, sparking debates over human rights, border security, and economic impacts. Around mid-August 2025, a McDonald's in Texas became the target of a major ICE raid. Initial reports, spreading on the X platform and some news sources, stated that ICE buses arrived unexpectedly, surrounding the restaurant. The goal was to detain individuals suspected of being undocumented immigrants, including restaurant employees and some customers. Over 500 people were reportedly taken onto buses and either deported immediately or transferred to detention centers before removal from the United States. This event is part of the mass deportation campaign under the Trump 47 administration, aimed at strictly enforcing immigration laws and strengthening border control. However, the claim of 500 people deported in a single raid has sparked controversy, with some arguing the figure may be inaccurate due to a lack of official confirmation from ICE. According to data from the Department of Homeland Security, Texas recorded over 35,000 immigration-related arrests in August 2025, accounting for about 20% of the national total. The McDonald's incident is seen as a prime example of the strategy targeting public places like restaurants and shopping centers for rapid deportations. Similar operations took place in other states, including California, New Jersey, and Tennessee. ICE used surprise tactics, such as civilian trucks to conceal their presence, a method some critics called a Trojan horse. These campaigns aim to send a strong message about law enforcement, but have raised concerns about transparency and human rights. Based on DHS reports and monitoring organizations, August 2025 was a peak month for immigration enforcement. Here are the key figures. Arrests. ICE detained about 180,000 people nationwide, a 25% increase from July 2025. Of these, 45% occurred in public places like restaurants, supermarkets, and construction sites. In Texas alone, over 35,000 people were arrested, making up 20% of the national total. Deportations. A total of over 120,000 people were deported in the month, a 30% increase from the previous month. About 65% were expedited removals, processed without full hearings. ICE detention centers reached 97% capacity, holding over 32,000 people at one time. Economic impact. Industries reliant on immigrant labor, such as food service, construction, and agriculture, reported labor shortages of 7 to 12% in Texas. Restaurant chains like McDonald's saw a 4% revenue drop as immigrant customers avoided public spaces. However, some businesses argued that the policy prioritizes jobs for U.S. citizens.
A Texas-based airline company is facing backlash for carrying out deportation flights for ICE. People gathered in protest outside of the headquarters in Houston over the weekend.
ICE recruitment. Nearly 80,000 job applications were submitted to ICE in August 2025, a 40% increase from the previous year, reflecting public support for strict immigration policies. Voluntary departures. Due to fears of raids, the rate of immigrants voluntarily leaving the U.S. rose by 15%, with over 12,000 cases recorded in the month. These figures highlight the scale of the enforcement campaign, but also underscore issues related to human rights, the economy, and society. The X platform became a lively forum for discussing the McDonald's incident and other ICE enforcement actions. Posts from August 2025 show a deep divide in public opinion. Here are some notable examples. Support for the policy. On August 6th, Eagleman wrote, "Boom. Immigration officers defied Mayor Karen Bass and staged in the back of a box truck to nab invaders at Home Depot. This is the energy we need, restoring America's sovereignty, one deportation at a time. This post received over 3,700 likes, reflecting strong support from those who view illegal immigration as a threat. Criticism of racial profiling. On August 6th, Quebenline posted, "This morning, ICE rolled into a Home Depot parking lot using a moving truck like a Trojan horse to snatch Latino workers. Whoever they could find. No idea if they were undocumented or not. That's not enforcement. That's racial profiling, and it violates a standing court order." With over 2,800 likes, this post criticized ICE's tactics and accused them of racial discrimination. Humor and support. On August 7th, Joe Lang 5140671 commented, "No wonder almost 80,000 people have filled out applications for jobs with ICE. This seems like a fun job. Federal agents use a Penske rental truck as a Trojan horse to raid a Los Angeles Home Depot. What's next? A taco truck?" This post, with over 200 likes, combined humor with support. Human rights concerns. On August 7th, Angel Sputenhell wrote, "Need everyone to realize the gravity of this. The people who got the cops called on them were forced to show their documentation. If they didn't have their documents with them, they would 100% have been taken by ICE." This post, with over 2,500 likes, highlighted risks to both legal and undocumented immigrants. Operations in Texas and other states. On August 7th, Rapid Response 47 posted, "Governor Bill Lee is mobilizing the Tennessee National Guard to help with mass deportations. ICE has already conducted multiple raids across the state. They've detained almost 2,700 people since June 10th. With over 3,000 likes, this post showed that similar operations were not limited to Texas. Description of ICE tactics. On August 6th, Clown World wrote, "DHS agents rolled into MacArthur Park in Penske trucks for an immigration operation near a Home Depot overrun with migrants." This post, with over 1,000 likes, referenced similar tactics in California.
Yeah, hey there, Steve. Immigration and Customs Enforcement officials wasting little time under the new administration. Agents carrying out raids in certain parts of the country, targeting violent criminal offenders in the United States illegally and wanted by law enforcement. Fox News cameras were there to capture some of the action.
Practical perspective. On August 13th, U.S. Community Net posted, 5,000 ICE agents call for an Uber to the airport 4x a day. And boom, you've got a roundup, already self-delivered to a departure point. Plus, you confiscate, auction off the cars to pay for the deportation. This post, with over 800 likes, suggested a practical approach. In total, posts related to ICE raids on X in August 2025 recorded over 50,000 interactions, showing significant public interest and polarization. ICE's activities in August 2025 had notable impacts. Economic impact. Texas's food service, construction, and agriculture industries reported labor shortages of 12%. Restaurants like McDonald's saw a 4% revenue drop as immigrant customers reduced public activity. However, some businesses argued that the policy reduces labor competition and prioritizes jobs for U.S. citizens. Social impact. Immigrant communities in Texas felt unsafe, leading to reduced social and economic engagement. The rate of voluntary departures rose by 15%, with over 12,000 cases. Protests against ICE took place in Houston and Dallas, drawing thousands of participants. Legal response. Organizations like the ACLU filed over 15 lawsuits in August 2025, accusing ICE of violating civil rights. Some Texas courts considered temporary injunctions, but ICE's campaign continued. Public safety. DHS reported a 12% decrease in border-related crime in Texas, but human rights groups argued that raids create fear and undermine trust in the law. Support. Supporters argue that ICE's actions protect jobs, reduce welfare burdens, and enhance security. The surge in ICE job applications reflects public support. Opposition. Critics accuse ICE of racial profiling and human rights violations, particularly with surprise tactics. They call for immigration policy reform to protect vulnerable communities. Economic perspective. Some economists argue that deportations reduce labor competition, but others warn of rising prices and economic decline in industries reliant on immigrant labor. Social perspective. Sociologists note that these campaigns increase community divides, but also strengthen trust in the law among some groups. The McDonald's incident in Texas and ICE's enforcement actions in August 2025 reflect a tense period in U.S. immigration policy. With over 180,000 arrests and 120,000 deportations, the campaign achieved goals of controlling illegal immigration, but sparked controversy over human rights and economic impacts. Comments on X show a deep divide, from support to opposition. Further developments from the administration, courts, and communities should be monitored to understand long-term impacts. This article provides a neutral perspective based on data and public information to help international readers understand the issue. This article has utilized reliable sources and perspectives from social media to provide a comprehensive view. For a deeper understanding, readers can refer to statements from DHS, CBP, or reports from Reuters, The Guardian, and WOLA.
Immigration advocates today called on federal authorities to provide more information about a raid that happened in Hays County back in April. Federal officials say the roundup of nearly 50 people was part of a crackdown on a criminal gang from Venezuela.
For the last 14 days. Have you had fever, sore throat?
This operation is targeting convicted drug traffickers.
Like I said, we're going to go ahead and take you somewhere else. We're going to put you in a little bit more comfortable situation.
Houston-based airlines signed a long-term agreement with ICE to carry out deportation flights. Now protesters are urging travelers to choose other airlines, arguing that immigrants aren't receiving due process.
Move back! Do not agree! Back! Do not
Like I said, we're going to go ahead and take you somewhere else. We're going to put you in a little bit more comfortable.
It's the right to be right not to say anything, right?
House. There's still cameras outside. H corner.
The non-citizen, who they are. As to what we're seeing today,
back! Do not agree! Back! Do not agree!